Hello and welcome to episode 16 of Dare to Speak, Difficult Conversations That Change Everything. Today, I'm going to talk about something that I hear about a lot in my coaching space. I call it the 3 a.m. conversation with yourself. It's like a rehearsal for what's going to happen for the rest of the day. Perhaps you've done all the right things. You've switched off your phone, you've gone to bed on time, you haven't drank any caffeine since 1 p.m. that previous day, and you've had a journal by your bed and you've written down every single thought that's in your head so that you can be ready. Have a good night's sleep. And then at 3 a.m., your eyes pop open, your heart is beating, and you think, oh, I'm not going to be able to get back to sleep. In this podcast, I'm going to talk a little bit about the impacts of that and actually what you can do about it, how we can frame that, why it happens, and why it's not your fault. So, just to recap, this podcast, Dare to Speak, Difficult Conversations That Change Everything, is my offering to anybody who is listening and wants to learn more about the process of difficult conversations for themselves. Years ago, when I went through a separation and divorce, my ex-husband and I had endless difficult conversations. I would say actually that in our marriage, we'd had a lot of conversations that were very hard and we'd learned how to avoid them. And so here's the funny thing. You're avoiding the conversation, but then you're waking up in the middle of the night and you're running that conversation through your head again and again and again. What we do about that, how we deal with it, is really important. One solution that I hear people say very often is they go and get some sleeping tablets to help them sleep. And as I said earlier, they've gone through the full process. But the problem is these conversations don't stop happening, these 3 a.m. rehearsal conversations of what we're going to do, why did we do that thing, what are we going to do tomorrow? Should I just get up and start re-preparing that long email in response to their long email? Or how am I going to manage at work? How am I going to talk to somebody about what's happening? These are the moments that they're kind of hell to live through. I remember when I had my child, being told that the first year would be both the longest and the shortest year of my life. And it was really true. The days passed in a flash. And yet the moments seemed to last for absolutely ever. And that's what it's like going through separation and divorce. We kind of start living in our own head. We're living in that space where we don't know where to turn. We don't know what we can do next. And there's been many studies about this. And what's happening is we're doing something called ruminating. Rumination comes actually from, there's certain animals like cows, and because they eat grass, they have a different number of stomachs than humans. And so they do this thing called chewing the cud, which is a form of rumination, which is basically going over stuff again and again and again. If we're ruminating, very often it'll be combined not with a productive leap forwards where we lie there and we work everything out. What's more likely to happen is that we're likely to lie there, think it all through, perhaps even work it all out. And then once we've worked it all out, we go back to the beginning and we start trying to work it all out again. And the studies show that this kind of rumination is really damaging for our mental health. Getting stuck in that space leads to a sense of helplessness, leads to a sense of hopelessness, leads to a feeling of overwhelm that then is combined with that feeling that we're not getting enough sleep either. So what can we do about it? Well, first of all, we can recognize that it's really common. And as you'll know, if you've been following this, I work a lot with men. And one of the areas that I notice quite a lot is this rumination around a difficult conversation. And what happens is that the thoughts go round and round and round and round. We do this ruminating, we chew the cud on it, we do it over again and again and again, until in the end, we're kind of training our mind that the thought of having this difficult conversation is going to be impossible. The endless 3 a.m. rehearsal creates the narrative in our heads, the story that we start telling ourselves, that there's no way through. There's nothing that we can do. And even if we do, it's not going to work. It's not going to lead to anything moving forwards. It won't be constructive. So the best thing to do is avoid it. So what happens is the ruminating process, not only does it erode our mental health and our feelings about who we are as a person and what we're going to be able to achieve, but it does this other aspect, which is it teaches us actually to avoid having the conversation, because we develop the interpretation of events. We start telling us a story that it won't make a difference. And that's what I hear. I hear people, they come to talk to me and they go, there is no point. It won't make a difference. I have tried it before. And that's really, really common. People will say, I've tried it before and it can't be done. But of course it can be done. Because the reason why it's not working is, first of all, partly when we're ruminating it in our head. If we think it can't be done, our mind will come to the conclusion that it can't be done, because that's kind of what we're telling ourselves. You'll have heard of goal setting, I'm sure. It's all over the place. Set your goal. The person who decided that they were going to win an Olympic gold medal, and they set their goal and off they did. They won that medal because they thought about it every day. And because they were thinking about it every day, they took action in that direction, and they kept on going, and they ignored the obstacles, or they got over the obstacles, and they ignored all the people who said they couldn't do it, and they achieved it. So goal setting is really, really important. And when we're doing ruminating, what we're doing is like the opposite of goal setting. A lot of what I do when I start working with somebody is challenge that in a really nice way. We might do it like this with a what if statement. I know you're saying to me that it's impossible to have a conversation with your ex or with your boss or with your child or whatever it is. But what if it was possible? What would that mean? What would that achieve? What would that free up in your life? What would be the value of doing it? You see, when we're having these ruminating thoughts, what we're doing is we're thinking about the situation. We're going around, oh, well, they said, I did that. Well, what if I do that? Well, this will happen and that will happen and the other. And then they did that and they're always doing that and there's no way around it. And they're a narcissist, or they're, avoidant or attachment or whatever word come up to try and diagnose the condition. But really the condition is that we don't know how to have a difficult conversation. The value of what if statements. Well, what if it did turn out? What if I was able to do this? What if I was to find a different way of structuring this sentence or this email so that the other person didn't get confronted or triggered by it? Then what would happen? You see, those questions, they are in fact curiosity, clarity questions. If I could do it, what would that mean? That is a really powerful question to ask ourselves at 3 a.m. if we're going to be awake at 3 a.m. thinking about these things. If I could do it, what would that change? If I was able to find a different way of phrasing this so that the other person listened rather than getting triggered, what would that mean? If instead of replying to every single detailed point of accusation, shame, blame, and criticism that has been delivered to me, I didn't do that. I simply stated my case. What would be different? What would change? What would be communicated? Because the trick with the 4 a.m. conversation or the 3 a.m. conversation or the ruminations that happen at any point in your life is not to do more of them. But it's also unreasonable to just say, don't do it. It just isn't how the world really works. What is a better thing to do is start asking different questions. If it worked out, what would it be like? I've noticed that I continue to go round and round in these circles. Is it possible that somebody can help me with a different way of doing it? That is a massive question to ask. We don't have to do this alone. We really don't. There's help out there, there's support. We often feel like we have to do it alone, and that's because in our childhood, often we were told to get on with it, or we were told some conflicting stuff in childhood, actually. We were often told, ask for help, but don't ask stupid questions. Try and see if you can do it yourself, and then if you can't do it, come and ask for help. But then when you did go and ask for help, you were told by somebody who maybe knew how to do the thing that it was easy. Here's the thing, when we don't know how to do something, it just isn't easy. And so what happens is we persist in doing it in a way that doesn't work, and then we end up in the same hole in the ground that we keep falling in, but we've no idea how to get out. And hearing somebody say, oh, it's just easy, all you need to do is X, Y, and Z. No, it's not that simple. When I was going through my own separation and divorce, and I know this stuff, when I moved house, I can't tell you the bloody hundreds of books that I had to move with me, all of which I've read. But the answers weren't in those books. Snippets of the answers were in the books, not the answer. But the answer really was, Eve, you need some help. You need somebody to give you a hand. You need someone else's perspective to have a look at this and see what they think, see what you're missing. Asking for help is an extraordinarily powerful thing, but the problem is a lot of the time, A, there's nobody to help us, or the help that we're offered, we do it in a kind of isolated way. We try and read it in a book. We see if we can find it out by watching it on a YouTube video. You're listening to a podcast right now, and you might think, oh, maybe I can get all the answers here. And the truth is, you will get lots of answers. But my solution to you is two things. First of all, think about the questions that you are asking yourself. If I could do this, what would it mean? If I am not able to do this, can I get help? If I've asked for help and the help that I've been offered isn't the right kind of help, is there a right kind of help? Is there a help that will actually help? These are better questions to be asking at 3 a.m. in the morning. So write them down and put them on a piece of paper next to your bed. And the next time you're waking up at 3 a.m. in the morning, or you're staying awake to write long, 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 long emails to your ex or to your ex's solicitor because you've used all your money up and you can't afford a lawyer anymore. Whatever your situation is, if I could do this differently, would I be able to get a different result? Would it work better for me? And the answer is yes. That is what I've learned. That is what is the truth. If we can't solve something ourselves, we need help. If the help that we've asked for isn't the right help, we need better help. There is better help available. Please do take a look at my website, www.evestanway.co.uk. Please do listen to my other podcasts, and I would really value it if you like and subscribe. If you're watching this on YouTube again, please do like, subscribe, and share it. My mission is to teach people that difficult conversations are a skill set. And with the right process, you can learn how to do them. It is not rocket science, but it's also not easy to work it out for yourself. It's taken me years, but I've put it in a framework. My lead, I keep getting that wrong, listen, speak, lead framework. It works. It's the way I work with all of my clients. Even when I don't call it that, when I'm working with my clients, that's what I'm doing. How we have these difficult conversations, because it is no good to just be told that communication matters and that we need to improve our communication. What we need is to understand the framework by which that happens. And not just a few, just say, use I statements, don't use you statements. We need to know why that matters, why it's important. So if this has resonated with you today, please do reach out and let me know. I am interested in you with your difficult stories, and I will do my best to answer them actually within podcasts. Or you can work with me. Just reach out, DM me through however you're watching this, or just go have a look at my website and book a call. It's a free call. There are so many people, and we've been able to actually move the work forwards just on that free call. And I'm happy to do that all day long because this work matters. So take care, have a really good day, and I look forward to speaking with you or seeing you. Well, I won't see you, but you'll see me on the next YouTube episode. But take good care of yourself and remember, difficult conversations can change everything, and it's a skill you can learn. Take care.